Hey guys, how are you doing? Welcome to the latest from the review. I do hope you're well and thank you so much for your continued support. I'm going to provide a healing today for those that want to get out of the reflective state and free, which is when you look at someone as if they were you and then make out that you yourself are better than them and then destroy all view because you feel you're important. Usually it comes across like this: I have no idea what you're going on about, right? So it's difficult. The subconscious mind is challenging everyone because it itself is free and knows more than you, and then forming becomes a problem. Forming is not what they want at level 3 or 2, and 2 could be seen as your emotional state. 3 would be how you direct your energy, and then 4 would be how you participate in life because you know more than you make out to be. All right, so 4 could be the point that you let go and you simply experience, and within that is the astral dimensions, and they themselves are challenging because of the way that we view the apocalypse. All right, so the apocalypse can present in many ways. It can be as simple as I'm having a nervous breakdown and you stating it without actually meaning it because you're trying to relate to yourself at the point that everything is coming on top of you. Or it could be as subtle as, I don't like what you're wearing today. Okay, and so you have a meltdown because of it. These things occur for people on every level, not just people that are attention seeking or trying to destroy their own bodies because of it. You can have the way you deal with yourself inside as your past expression, and it's always available to you to say whether or not you align with it anymore. When you say this, no, I'm not going to have a meltdown just because my lipstick is smudged. I'm not going to have a meltdown just because my nail broke. I'm not going to have a meltdown because I lost a dog's lead, for example. I'm not going to have a meltdown because my mother has shrunk my jeans. Right, I'm going to be okay. So at that point, she would say this: there's no such thing as life because I no longer evolve in the way that I've been shown by my parents, and that way has always been subjective because they have issues too, and so do their parents, and so do their parents, and it goes on, and that's what's known as the genome of review, or you would say probably to do with a fire, right? So what you're looking at is patriarchal domination view mind, and then how you're deciding life because of what you claim to be, and that is sovereign. Okay, so sovereignty, you could say, has always been, are we living life in the way that God wants us to? It doesn't matter that you ask yourself what is or isn't. Do you feel good, right? So if you feel good torturing people, hurting their feelings, making out you're better than them, then this is not for you, because that would be seen as lower state and free, and that's how we appear in life before other people because they have issues with themselves. Okay, if you relate to I love to be kind to people, I love to be patient, I like to be balanced, I like to be my truth, but also I like to show that I'm an authority as well. So you keep both sides. You would say this: I'm definitely freely. Okay, and that shows that you're able to position yourself and then delegate the view by saying this: I no longer relate to life, but I'm definitely a business person, or I know how to form myself well because there's no such thing as domination, since I know both sides of the story and choose to express them both. All right, so that one's a bit complicated. The other side we would say is polarization by review. So you'd say um, when we're high all the time, we would be positive about life in many ways, and it can seem over enthusiastic and unbalanced for those who are living in the lower state and free, which is to simply acknowledge, right? So we'd say this: in lower state and free, it's quite normal to be negative the majority of the time and to find fault in everything as we start to leave that determination. And we'll definitely call it that because the determination is to succeed and survive, and that's the game of life, survival. And it's always been that way. Everyone appears to be afraid of death on some level, unless, of course, you've been through cycles like myself where you've actually died and come back to life again and continue living and say, what on earth is going on now? Apparently I'm a ghost and I have a flesh body. Okay, so positive alignment is what you would call polarization of review, where all it is the obstructive nature of your knowing to participate in only positive view and still interact with people at any level and expect them to be completely okay with you like that. It may be intense on their body if you're positive all the time. Okay, so people start to get pissed off with you. The other side of that, which is the other side of polarization, is when you're negative all the time and everyone around you is either lower state and free, which is relatively normal, they'd say, in terms of the review, so survival, and positive and negative going back and forth, but the majority would be negative. Okay, so it's more like negative approval, isn't it? Or is it negative? It'd be negative delivery by review, which is obvious, right? So this is what people are used to. Okay, so if you're too negative, you can upset them as well. Then you have the extremely negative people and the extremely positive people trying to interact with each other and prove they're right. And that's more commonly known as spirituality. And I have to say, that's one of the most profound things I've ever seen, trying to convince each other that each one's right, even though we know that each side is opposing. And that ends up in a paradox of view, which means neither can exist without the other or their view, and that never goes anywhere. And then you have the neutrals that don't get involved in anything, and then more commonly known as sociopaths that sit there and try to mimic the identities of others and make out they are both and always, and claim that they're superior and important, right? So what we're talking about here is how we understand ourselves to be in life, how we are objectifying the determination of unknowing, and then claiming that we are superior because we know more again and still can't live life. Okay, so the ideal state of being is movement, where you go up and down, left and right, back and forth, and you can be neutral about it, but you don't necessarily align with any particular view, and that would be known as an actor. Okay, so it's really strange how this is working out. I'm just kind of going on, and it just keeps coming out my mouth. It's really profoundly cool, isn't it? Hold on a second. Human life has always been, excuse me, human life has always been, if you look at the concept of Elohim and how there is much more to existence, and the linear that we participate in is always opposing our view, and that is because we simply don't let go to experience life in a new way. Okay, so the more we let go, the more we see, and the more we see, the more we refuse, and the more we refuse, the more we simply don't want to, because we're shown things that God wants us to see, which is multidimensionality and how it's affected us on many levels. People in general are reluctant to do their inner work because they feel is right now, and that is the perfection of their own knowing, and it itself is never showing you because of what they appear to be, and that is simply experiencing the way that they feel is right, and then complaining about anyone that doesn't do it their way, and then moaning about the government. Okay, so what we have here is a chance for evolving before all of this, to see that it was always available, because we look at ourselves again and say, am I mature? All right, and the worst part about this is children, because they appear immature, except they're more mature than we are. We could say that is our future, right? The children are our future because they themselves do not tolerate what we do, and that is sexual discrepancy and review, right? So they want to play and be free, and they want to do whatever they want at the time, and we could say that's our desire. All right, so we're moving away from sexual promiscuity and into a place of purity again, and then celebrate life because of imagination. And then within that is the astral planes where we already are, and that's where we're able to fly. Okay, so we're looking right now at different states of lucidity that is occurring for us. And the worst part of this is the idea of unity and how that itself wants us to form and show more without compromising what we truly want to be. The problem is when you yourself want everything, you want to live peacefully, you want to have fun and go out with your friends, you want a partner, you don't want a partner, you want to have the world as your oyster, you don't, you want your own business, you don't, you want to solve viruses, you don't, I think I'll be a pony, and then it goes on and on. The problem is we seem to have become each other's dreams, and that's because of the lucid review, and that's how we vibrate through time based upon the opinion of another, which still appears before us. I've just drunk Fanta, I'm not drunk. Sorry, that was a placement. Sorry about that. I wasn't authorised to advertise Fanta. Forgive me. A shout going out to, is it Schweppes, or I could be getting this wrong. Oh no. Out to Coca-Cola. Sorry about that. I may be sued for it. And isn't it funny? Here we are in the astral, and we're still seeing and interacting with our previous past life that is making their fault our problem, and then wanting us to change again to suit them so they can be free. Okay, so to sum up, when you start wanting everything, and that is your dreams, you become greedy. Greed itself is subjective, I feel, since nobody's really hungry at the dinner table and they fool themselves into believing they are because they don't want to upset anyone, right? And so then you have the dog who wants to eat and eat and eat all the time because it's in survival, okay? Where I'm going with this, I'm not quite sure at the moment. As I move through, it's like a level 3. It's pretty stable, but there seems to be 2 timelines of review where people want to devour their own concept and take it seriously, and that means attacking people with normality and review, and then saying that everyone's living life. Some of us have actually started to fly, and I'm not talking about, take off physically right now, but we can feel layers of our body walking on water, and we're actually moving through time at an accelerated rate. And then we're feeling this because everybody's body is a starship. If you yourself have been through the starseed DNA review point, and you would know that to be the Merkaba, okay, or the Macabre, all right? So that starship view is not really supportive of the free, because the Judaist approach is I show myself. Well, I'm just looking at it again. Not everyone is from the Jewish faith or religion. I would say probably both, depending on how you align. Some believe it's a race of itself. Others get confused. I'm one of the ones that gets confused because I always get it wrong. It's Yiddish, and then it's Kadosh, right? So that would say their superior force is so beyond their wildest dreams. Even the Elohim don't exist, and it's really difficult, okay? So it depends on what religious view you came into and how you're supporting your life. It's really difficult, okay? The starship view can be seen on Asher Nadine's website. So if you were to purchase Voyagers, it's Voyagers, The Sleeping Abductees, it's the second one actually. There's 2 books that I've read that are really wonderful. One of them is The Secret of a Mentee, is probably the one you want to look at, although there is a new one, or is it the Map Review Point? I actually bought and downloaded something to look at what was going on with the body, and these are really descriptive, okay? So like me, Asha Nadine translates, and what she's shown is really, really profound, all right? So you may want to look at that. The body, for those with the higher DNA templates, it's a starseed ship model, and everyone knows that based upon the Merkaba. So if you don't, maybe it's time for you to start doing your research again and look to see where you resonate. It could be that you're caught up because you haven't done enough of the knowledge, so you haven't really studied to the level you would like to, so that you can alchemize and let go of the review. Others don't do it at all, and they just let things unfold, which is a wonderful way. But because we're part of life and letting go of it, it may be that you're required to actually do that research and that training, and then that way you have something to go back to talk about, and that's within the teacher's review, okay? So I know it's a bit difficult at the moment. There are a few things coming up shortly in terms of healing and review. There seems to be an awful lot of defiance going on, and then blaming Lucifer for everything. The problem is some people have called their dog Lucifer, okay, or Satan, or even Jehovah. And when you have a dog and it's God spelt backwards, and that's a belief system, we need to look at the way the mind is deciding what's wrong or right for you, because you yourself may be seen as such, all right? So defiance itself is never equal. I would say defiance is always supporting but never jeopardizing the sanctity of another, because worship is importantly clever and reviewed, And no one talks about mainstream Satanism, okay? So we'd say there are things going on and we can see that they're worshipping the devil, but it may well be that you see those things because you yourself need to let go of that belief system. And if you're saying the mind is powerful and we're all co-creating with God, then really it's time to check in with yourself. And this itself could be the reason why there's so much stagnation, why there's so much review, and why there's no forward march, because you create your own obstacles. And that's where you need to start to understand yourself a bit more and start to move through and let go of what it is that you feel is right or wrong, and then acknowledge what you want to do. All right, so this is only for people that are actually caring about the earth. Other people want to evolve and love God, not the Satanists that claim that Lucifer is God and they think it's completely okay to torture and violate people. I don't agree with it at all. And as someone that's experienced it on every single level through this energetic reality experience, I have to say it's one of the most vulgar and cruel and vile experiences you can ever have. And these memories are coming up through our ancestors and then some. Okay, so we'd say what was within my DNA is relating to me immediately, and those I'm related to. And sorting out your family bloodline is really difficult. On top of that, you have people that have money trying to control the internet, and then they are animating realities, and that's through the dark web review. On top of that, you have people that are sitting there making intentions through witchcraft to hurt people, and all of these people are consciously involved, knowing that we know, and then are making out that they don't know anymore, which is better. What I'm going to do over the next few days is start to film people, I think, as I walk around and show you what I mean by pointing it out. And from that point, perhaps we can go forward. There will be healings coming up. I am opening a section on the website for those moving through the twin flame process authentically, that keep getting stuck with loads and loads of clearing that has nothing to do with them because they're not supporting themselves right, and show you how to come back to yourself so you can deliver your own review equally without relying on anyone else but yourself, and also support the ones that show you, and they will be known as teachers. Okay, so it takes the heaviness off, it takes all the neediness and I would say desire off, since you can start to function yourself and do this properly. I feel everyone at some point should look back at themselves and understand that they are already well evolved if they are moving through this process because they've been chosen to do it. That's if you've been doing it authentically. And you'll know what I mean because you've received activations. You are literally visualizing from the beyond and saying, what on earth is going on with my third eye? Why do I keep seeing this? Right, and I'm not talking about numbers and, I keep seeing 1111. That is quite normal and is showing you that you're moving through, but there's manipulation too. What I'm talking about is doing work in your sleep, leaving your body, okay, having visions of things before they've even happened, and then they do. All right, perhaps you're sensing spirit walking around, or maybe beings from other dimensions. You're having regular visitations. Okay, you're feeling the energy, you're sensing it, and you're still moving through. You're moving through your kundalini, your chakra membranes are breaking down, you're moving through time in a way that you're not used to. Perhaps people are looking at you funny, and the most common one is accusing you of being mentally ill because you yourself have left life. Okay, so once you leave life, then you have the fear of Atlantis, and then that is someone else's dream to destroy all mankind and have them experimented on. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back shortly, and I'll let you know once the website page is open. After that, you can come and go as you please, and there'll be directive healing transmissions which will assist you in returning to yourself into stability and assist you with moving through as yourself and take away the reliance, okay? Because I feel that relying on each other is a wonderful thing, okay? But also rely on you and make sure it's varied and balanced. And that way there's no problem because it becomes unpredictable who you will go to next, what you will do. And that's because you're willing to see the bigger picture, in that there is much life out there, and not to assume straight away that someone may not be supportive of you, okay? All right, I'm sending you so much love, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.